It's time for Portland Wrestling 2000s. Now, here he is, your number one host, Frank Culbertson.
Hey, wrestling fans, it's Frank Culbertson. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Portland Wrestling 2000s. Hey, do me a favor and subscribe and like the channel so you don't miss a single moment of great Portland Wrestling 2000 action. And what a great show we have for you for today. We're going to be watching Devil Drexel, as you can see him here on the side, as he's interviewing the AOD in Portland Wrestling. And we're going to find out a lot about Derek, what he was doing back then and what he's doing now. And well, in fact, Derek's going to join us right now. And whoa!
Greetings and salutations, Freaky Frank. It's been a long time. How are you?
Well, I think we're going to have to get to what has happened to you to get to you where you are today. Great story. Fans are
CTE is real. CTE is real.
Fans, don't miss a moment. Call your grandmas and grandpas, your moms and dads, your sons and daughters, and tell them Devil Drexel of Portland Wrestling 2000s is on the air. So, Derek, let's talk about the old Derek. Where did you grow up? What was the first wrestling you watched? And who were your big stars? What hooked you into professional wrestling?
I grew up in the Murder City, Detroit. And so big time wrestling, that was already gone. I was born in 75, and I think they shut down by like 79 or so. So I didn't really experience wrestling till I think it was 7 or 8 when WWF started syndicating to the Detroit area. And then also on one of our local stations, we would get, WAW, maybe. It was Dick the Bruiser's company, and that filmed over in Indiana, I believe, but they showed it. And then I would get a little bit of Canadian stuff that would play over on the Windsor station. So it was a mosh of different things, but I don't know. I was a huge comic book nerd. I loved comics. I loved superheroes. And when I discovered wrestling, that was the closest thing to like real life comic books. And I remember my first favorites were it's so random now, but it was Roddy Piper, who was probably the most hated man in wrestling at that point. My very first wrestling shirt was a Hot Rod shirt with the red ringer one. And I would get into fights all the time in elementary school because everyone else had Hulkamania and I had my Hot Rod shirt. But it was Roddy Piper, Junkyard Dog, who now I watch his matches and I just roll my eyes. But if I watch his promos, I see probably what like drew me in. And then the British Bulldogs, because they did things that I had never seen anyone else do. I remember my first VHS tape that I ever got of WWF was the Wrestling Classic. It was this tournament, and in it was Dynamite Kid fought Macho Man. And in my head, it is a 20-minute battle. In reality, it's about 5 minutes. But the end of the match comes where they do a superplex where they're both standing on the top rope. And I'd never seen anything close to that as a kid. So I was just amazed by the Bulldogs and their athletic stuff. And just between the power and the speed, I thought they were so cool. But I think it was Piper and Junkyard Dog and what they were saying that really sucked me in.
Absolutely. And so you eventually got out to the Portland, Oregon market, and you're working on a morning top-rated Z100 station in Portland, Oregon with the Buckhead Show. And Portland Wrestling, myself, we make a sponsorship deal with the station to have your banners and get some cross-promotion. And you're doing, well, mostly interviews, backstage interviews. You're doing a little television announcing. You were an absolute natural. Anybody who hears your promos now can understand how easy it was for you to announce wrestling matches. And you're in the ring to do announcing of a tag match. And then, well, Derek, this happens.
This first match is scheduled for one fall. First, coming to the ring from Vancouver, British Columbia, weighing in at 260 pounds, Maple Leaf Murphy!
There you go. Hold it just a second here.
That's not Maple Leaf Murphy coming out there.
No, Maple Leaf Murphy would never cover his handsome face, his beautiful face.
That is the grappler in Team Hell, Skag Rollins.
And I want an explanation, Frank Culbertson, what's going on here. The board of directors has done it again.
Well, grappler looks like he has something to say.
I didn't think so. Are you a professional manager? No. I didn't think so. Are you a professional announcer? No, you're not. Okay?
He's not. He's got a point there, Frank.
Okay? This is a professional wrestling ring. This ring belongs to me. This ring belongs to Team Hell, brother. And we have paid our dues, Daddy, to be in this ring. You understand? Now listen to me, friend.
Hit him, grappler.
Here's the problem. When you were raised, you weren't treated like this man and this man and this man right here, okay? Your daddy never gave you an ass whooping that you needed to learn to keep your nose out of people's business. So tonight, I'm going to give you that ass whooping you had coming to you, friend.
What does the grappler and Team Hell do? And they've got Derek from Z100, who's just in the ring to do the announcing. Oh, and he's taking a leather strap from the grappler over and over. This is just uncalled for, ladies' choice.
Absolutely not, Frank Culbertson. He deserves every strapping he gets. How dare you come in here if you're not a professional wrestler and step inside the ring?
Well, there's Dr. Luther and Big Ugly and the Blanchards. They're clearing house, but the grappler just hitting Derek from Z100 with the strap over and over.
Well,
Oh, okay, Derek. Tell me, how did this angle come about, and what was it like to be in the ring with a legend like the grappler? And more importantly, how did it feel to be whipped?
I don't know how it came about. I showed up as, a cross promotion because I saw wrestling was on TV. I really wasn't having that much fun at my radio station. So I kind of wheeled and dealed behind the scenes and said, hey, look, Portland Wrestling's on TV. And they happened to run right before or right after our main competition of the morning show. So what happens if we do a cross promotion? I can get my face on there. We can advertise our show before and after their TV show. And so my radio station, which really wanted nothing to do with pro wrestling, accepted the offer. And I got my foot in the door and I showed up and you were like, you're going to be an announcer. I said, okay, cool. I've been a radio DJ for the last 10 years, 11 years, and I can do this. And then for some reason, Grappler, Damon, and it was Skag Rollins and Exile, they really didn't like me. They didn't talk to me backstage. They didn't talk to me in the locker room. And as I found out, they really, really didn't like me when they whipped my ass out there.
But that was really your foot in the door inside the ring. And did that light the fire inside you to want to do more?
I mean, I always wanted to do more, but I came up in a time when if you were only 5'11" and 180 pounds, getting into wrestling was damn near impossible. So I just accepted it. I'm going to go be a radio DJ. I'm never going to get to live my life in wrestling. And so when the opportunity happened, I got my foot in the door. I honestly thought, my biggest goal, if I could be a wrestling manager, I never thought I would actually be a wrestler. I just thought a wrestling manager, someone like Bobby the Brain Heenan, like someone that got the crap kicked out of him. I'm tough. I got beat up a lot. I grew up in Detroit. I'm a white kid with a big mouth. So I was used to getting the shit kicked out of me. Oh, I don't know if I can swear. But I was used to that, and I could take it. I could be a manager. And so that was my whole goal when I got in there as an announcer and you had me do color commentaries. Could I be like Bobby the Brain Heenan, and could I be an actual manager in this business?
Well, and so towards that, we're going to look at the next step in the story of Derek Drexel. It takes place during two closes of the show. And let's take a look at those two and see what Derek Drexel is starting to stir up. And fans, be sure to stay tuned. At the end of the show, a very special bonus, as it's Derek Drexel versus Amira, a clip from Prestige Wrestling, a death match you don't want to miss.
On Portland Wrestling, CNW 14, where the very best wrestling happens each and every week. Tonight, you have seen the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship retained by Vinny Massaro of the Cartel, defeating Chupacabra. Derek, great match. Your cell phone's ringing, Derek.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, it was a great match. It was nice to see my boys, the Cartel, of course. Still champion, Vinny.
Vinny Massaro on a real reign of terror here in Portland Wrestling, fans. Next week, it is going to be the SPW X Division Championship. Big Ugly versus Caden Matthews. Hello. Once again, fans, I'm sorry. Usually, Derek a little more professional in this. I know if you listen to him on the radio in the morning, I don't think he takes phone calls, but...
Frank, it's a family matter. I gotta go.
Well, I guess Derek had something to take care of, fans. I apologize for that unprofessionalism. Fans, next week, as we were mentioning right here on Portland Wrestling, it is going to be the SPW X Division Championship. Big Ugly of the Cartel. They hold all 4 belts. They are the tag team champs of the Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Championship and the SPW title. Caden Matthews, former SPW title holder. Can he take that belt away from Big Ugly? That's next week here on Portland Wrestling, as we say, that's wrestling. Wrestling the way it should be. Wrestling fans, Frank Culbertson back for Portland Wrestling here on CNW 14, where you have just seen the Blanchards defeat Team Hell. A lot of dissension. It doesn't even look like Team Hell is Team Hell anymore. The Blanchards now #1 contenders for the Pacific Northwest Tag Team Championship. They will face the winners of the AOD versus the Cartel next week here on Portland Wrestling in a lumberjack match. But right now I am joined by Derek of Z100. Derek, it's good to hear from you. Last week you sounded a little bit confused.
Well, hey Frank, things have kind of changed for me a little bit. My luck's looking up. Seems after meeting with the lawyers that my great uncle Terrence left me a little bit of money. And you know that $5,000 I paid Superfly last year to beat Grappler's old ass? It's nothing, Frank. That's chump change. So right now, I'm giving my notice. I'm done as a ring announcer. I am done doing interviews in the back. And Frank, you, Don Koss, Roddy Piper, the whole board of directors, you all can kiss my because I am done being Portland Wrestling's whipping boy. See you next week because I'm going to stop on by and say hi, Frank. Bye.
He hung up. Derek with some very strong words. I'm not sure if you caught all that, fans, but that seems like a different Derek from what we've heard in the past.
Heavyweight title with this man. This is an Olympic athlete. Is that a joke? Cut the camera! Cut the camera! This gotta be a joke!
Okay, Derek, talk to me about that outfit. Where did it come from, and where did you get the helicopter?
I mean, I really wish I should have kept some of that money, but that was custom made Detroit suit because, you know, I was a radio DJ. I was a musician. I used to wear that stuff up on stage. So I had that suit in my closet along with some matching gaiters. I was looking fly. I mean, I got my hair did up in cornrows and everything, but the helicopter, that was just one of my business associates that I had done business with. I hit him up and I was like, hey, can I use your helicopter? And they said, sure. I made a lot of friends when I moved to Portland, but yeah, it was really cool. I mean, like I said, I was getting to be a manager, even if the guys that I was managing weren't quite the A-list stars that I was hoping for. But, you know, I took what I got and I just made the best of the situation.
Well, speaking of the group that you got, it was called the Conglomerate. And let's take a look at an interview you're doing with myself with the Conglomerate. And, well, we'll just see how it ends.
Wrestling fans, you have just seen the first ever Pacific Northwest Light Heavyweight Championship won right here on Portland Wrestling CNW 14, brought to you by the great folks out at Stuff. Chupacabra has defeated Timothy Thatcher, the first ever Light Heavyweight Champion. But I want to talk about Derek. What is that we saw earlier tonight? A helicopter, a madman, if you will.
That was Sheik Dafula Dabashi, who I bought from his father, the great Sheik Dabashi, and he was supposed to be an Olympic athlete. And he's locked in the back. I'm going to figure out what to do with him because, I mean, I've flown him over here in my private copter. I pay great money for this guy. I'll find a place in the conglomerate for him. I guarantee that.
He tried to bite me. Whoa, and I've seen him eat things that just should not be eaten.
We'll deal with it. We will deal with them. Next week, though.
Conglomerate.
Next week, Skagzilla. You're the first person from the AOD that we're putting out of wrestling. You guys, last week, let them chokeslam me, not once, but twice. The free ride is over for all three of you. You have three things you need to accomplish. First thing is I do not get touched ever again.
Well, that's...
Second thing, you need to start winning some matches. I'm paying you guys top dollar. You better win a match. And the third thing, AOD, you're going to be dead and buried. Guaranteed. You can put that in the bank and choke on it.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Listen here, Skag Rollins. I've been going to your gym boys. I've been packing down those tacos. I've been stuffing hamburgers down to get your weight. I've been doing 12-ounce curls. I've been sweating Crisco. But let me tell you something. It came across to me that I don't need to be like you. You need to be like me. You need to be luxurious. You need to be a champion. You need to be a winner. Skag Rollins, your ride in Portland wrestling is over, and you will fall victim to a stock market crash brought to you by Devil Drexel and the conglomerate. Pay attention. Next week, I take you to school.
Hey, Rick, you know how he got the nickname Skagzilla? Man walked into a Chinese buffet and little Oriental people ran like, oh my God, oh no, you put us out of business, oh no.
The board of directors endorses nothing Derek Drexel and the conglomerate have to say. Next week here on Portland Wrestling, you will see Virgil Flynn take on J.D. Bishop in a light heavyweight matchup, if you will, and you will see Rick Luxury take on Skag Rollins.
This is bread, and you're a tub of butter. Bring it, baby. Ha!
And you will see Mustafa make his Portland Wrestling debut right here on Portland Wrestling. As we say, that's wrestling the way it should be.
Good job, Frank. You look nice that way. You look nice. Keep it there. Keep it there.
It's time to step it up another step in the story, and we're going to watch the conglomerate, joint in progress, the conglomerate versus the AOD of Skag Rollins and Adam Thornstowe. Jim Valley joining me on commentary, and we'll talk about how this ends in just a moment.
Fans, we are back in the ring as Skag Rollins is taking a terrific beating from Wade Reichten and Laramie Lexow. This is the best Lexow has looked in his Portland wrestling career. He has looked phenomenal at times. He is over the top tonight.
He is absolutely rising to the occasion, taking on the Army of Darkness, one of the top names, one of the top groups here in Portland wrestling. Laramie Lexow is rising to the occasion. There's no doubt about it.
Now Skag Rollins in trouble. There's a great tag, and Laramie Lexow just continues to hold on to Skag Rollins. This is a move that we have seen the Knights of Ecstasy, the Cartel, all the successful teams, the AOD use, the Grapplers group in Portland wrestling. And now Derek has clearly guided Lexow and Reichten into the winner's circle, if you will, here tonight.
The match isn't over yet, but obviously the momentum on the side of the conglomerate here is they use that very effective move by, injuring Adam Thornstowe, it appears, cutting off the ring and then going to work on Skag Rollins with those very quick tags and very high impact maneuvers like that.
Drop kick into the corner on Skag Rollins. Adam Thornstowe outside still holding his shoulder. He really took a shot into that metal post outside, the steel post, and he is holding it. He has not even made an attempt to tag back in to Skag Rollins right now.
Wow. He caught him right across the jaw with that standing side kick. He's got to have some loose teeth right now, does Skag Rollins.
That is a trip to the dentist's office for sure. The AOD taking a tremendous beating like we haven't seen. Derek really does appear. Look, he's outside lighting. He's burning. He's put a cigar out in Skag Rollins' arm. He lit it with dollar bills. What is wrong with this individual?
What a weasel is Derek. He's really feeling his oats right now, feeling very cocky, feeling very much on top of the world.
But they're putting it right out
sticking,
here.
Yeah, like I did it. Get that thing away from me.
Skag Rollins, he's got him up. Oh, my goodness. Beautiful Samoan-type slam. Skag Rollins in the fireman's carry drops him straight down. Laramie Lexo in trouble right now. The fans chanting AOD, AOD. Referee Albert McClure in the ring trying to control this mayhem.
Tell you what, can he make the tag? He's able to reach Adam Thornstowe, but Adam is not 100% as he goes up against Wade Reichten. Adam giving it all he's got.
2-3 drop kicks in a row. Now 4, all men down, but he's still holding that shoulder. He's going up top. Could it be for another? No, he's going for a double body splash right on the 2 men, and in comes Rick Luxury in his suit. Thornstowe ducks. He catches him. Oh my goodness! Slams Rick Luxury, float over. Beautiful move by Thornstowe, but he's injured his shoulder.
He may have done more damage to himself there than he did to Rick Luxury on that standing moonsault there. Adam Thornstowe giving it all he's got, digging down deep, but he's not 100%, not by a long shot.
And now Skag Rollins in trouble, being double teamed by Wade Reichten and Lexo. Adam Thornstowe pounding away on Rick Luxury. Derek just outside the ring. Now he's in, putting the boots onto Adam Thornstowe himself. It is 5-on-2. As in comes Nick Rage. You saw him coming through the back doors to make it that 5-on-2. This is the young man Derek had no respect for, Jim.
And there you see all of the conglomerate in their glory taking out. Here comes Dr. Luther and Paul Isadora.
Isadora stepping over the top ropes. Dr. Luther with the hammer on Rick Luxury. Derek in trouble now.
And he's literally going to bring the hammer down on Derek Drexel. Derek has been...
But the conglomerate has left the boardroom. He's got money. He is offering Dr. Luther money. He's offering Skag Rollins money.
All of them saying your money is no good here.
He's offering Thornstowe money.
They want a payment, but they want a pound of flesh.
Oh no! He runs into the giant. Paul Isadora. He's up. Oh my goodness! Derek Drexel is down. Derek Drexel is down from the giant choke slam. Dr. Luther just talking to him. He's saying, give him one more, Jim.
And the fans are chanting, one more time, one more time. Tell you what, Derek Drexel inherited all that money from his uncle, but if he's not careful, he's going to be joining his uncle here very soon at the hands of Paul Isadora and the Army of Darkness.
Derek Drexel in a lot of trouble now, just being slapped. Dr. Luther has him. Paul Isadora, he's going up, he's going up, he's going down one more time.
Wow, he got drilled.
And look outside, the dollar bills, the conglomerate's going after the dollar bills while their leader has been left in the ring.
I guess it just shows you that the conglomerate only cares about money and doesn't care about, well, quite frankly, the conglomerate or their fearless leader, the weasel, Derek Drexel.
And Rick Luxury putting the money in his pocket like he came out some victorious while Derek lays writhing in the ring. Thornstowe, arm still bothering him. The winners of this match, I believe, was the Army of Darkness, but I'm being told it has been called a no contest, Jim. It has been called no contest.
Yeah, I'm getting the same note. Now Dr. Luther looks like he's got the microphone, and he's hanging on to Derek Drexel.
Luxury
Rick
trying
Luxury
to pull
trying to get him out.
And now Paul Isadora, they're going to pull this man apart. Nick Rage, Adam Thornstowe, they're not going to let Derek go that easy.
Portland! How do you like to see Derek Drexel choke slammed in front of you? Derek Drexel Drexel likes money so much. You know what? Who here wants to see the Duper put out of wrestling for good? If you guys liked what you saw, I want to hear AOD!
They are carrying Derek Drexel to the back.
Or at least the remains of Derek Drexel.
He was splattered on the ring, Jim.
It's like a bug going through your windshield in summertime.
Okay, I got to ask you, Derek, what was it like to be slammed not once, but twice by the giant Paul Isadora, who is legitimately a giant 7 feet tall?
So most people go to wrestling school and they learn how to take something like a choke slam or a power bomb. Nope, not me. My very first choke slam was on Portland Wrestling right there. I had never been picked up and slammed that from that height. I had never done anything like that. And actually, I remember the very first time that I hit the ground, I knocked the wind right out of me. Like no one had told me, hey, don't breathe in on the way down. And so it knocked the wind out of me. And I remember Isadora grabbed me by the throat. He went to pick me back up and I couldn't even speak. And I was just like, can't breathe, can't breathe, can't breathe. And he let me go for a second. He actually was going to show pity. And then Luther said, do another one. And he did. But that second time, when I bounced, because I get a really good bounce on that second one, knocked all the wind right back into me. So I guess it worked out for the best.
Oh, it was so good to watch. And Luther is so great. And he knows how to get the crowd and to talk to the crowd. And I got to, if you're a fan of AEW or not a fan of AEW, you need to tune in just to see Luther and Tony Storm and what they're doing. I know he is having the time of his life. I'm so happy for Doc and to see what he's been able to do as the butler. He is classic. He has really, really done well for himself. So happy for him. But so now you've taken the chokeslam. You've been whipped. It's time for you to actually have your first match. It's going to be a 6-man tag. It's Luther, Skag Rollins, Adam Thornstowe, all great workers against you, Wade Recton, and Laramie Lexow. How are you feeling? What training had you been getting? And how are you feeling? Were you nervous going into this match?
Let me see. How much training? I didn't get any training, Frank. There was no ring set up in the Portland area for me to train. I went out there and I did what I always do. I just faked it. You know, like you think about wrestlers now and like a lot of the kids, they all get together and they're like, we're going to do this. And then I'm going to do this. And we're going to go back. And there was none of that. I was told, go out there and just listen to us and don't die. And that's what I did.
Well, fans, there they are. The AOD led by the new Pacific Northwest heavyweight champion, Adam Thornstowe, Dr. Luther, and Skag Rollins making up the 3 of the AOD for this big matchup. Rick Luxury out here in front of us. Jim Valley, what has he got there?
You know, he's got a $1,000 bill, I believe, with Derek's picture printed on it. Here's my question. What the heck is Derek wearing to the ring?
Well, it's...
you know something? I got news for you. Richard Simmons would go, no, I'm not going to wear that.
No, absolutely. But look, he's still wearing the neck brace. Dr. Luther here. Adam Thornstowe dropping.
Look at that monstrosity in the ring.
Who's the champion? It is.
What I want to know, Dr. Luther, is what the hell is that outfit?
Something from some kind of secondhand store, and I can't wait for those European cut Speedos to go straight up, you know where.
Oh, that's where the Speedos always go.
That's not a sight that I want to see. And now, first it was Skag, and now it's Doc putting the hat on me here. But Jim, I'm not sure what this is. I've got the barbed wire baseball bat. I've got the Pacific Northwest title.
Yeah, you look like Stan Laurel. So wait, actually, hey Frank, there's the camera. We should get a layer there. That. That is a look,
go
my
right
friends.
to the ring
Look at
action
that, yeah.
right there.
Snoop and Puffy have got nothing on that look there, Frank.
Oh, yeah. Well, right now, having nothing on it is the conglomerate as they are outside the ring, not wanting to get in and do battle with the AOD. There you see Rick Luxury, who's not in the front, kind of standing in the back, as it tends to be. Rick Luxury always a second late to defend him.
Rick Luxury is very much like the David Spade of the conglomerate. He's always interfering with people trying to get to Derek or whomever. He's the kind of guy who makes things happen behind the scenes and tries to deflect the attention. Well, to be quite frank, just because he does not want to get beat up.
That's, well.
But he is not in this match.
And no, he is not. But a man who also doesn't want to get beat up is Derek Drexel. Call him a weasel. Call him Derek the Duper. But you call him a rich man.
I would call him ridiculous in that outfit.
What?
What? Derek is a fool if he accepts that. He is a fool if he accepts that.
He's clearly saying he's too smart for this.
He's an idiot if he accepts your challenge, Dr. Luther.
It's a DQ match. Derek trying to get the microphone, won't go near where Dr. Luther is. Ken Stillwell, the announcer, coming over, giving it to Derek.
Let's see what Derek has to say.
What is he doing? Oh, my goodness. We need to send Derek Drexel out for a test right away. If this is a no DQ match, Derek Drexel has just made the biggest mistake of his short wrestling career. There's the bell, and now it is action all outside. Jim, this is falls count anywhere. No disqualification. Referee Albert McClure just has to count the pin or submission.
Now, one would think this plays into the hands of the AOD because they want these guys, and they want these guys badly. But you've got to remember, there's 17 other members of the conglomerate waiting in the ring, waiting in the wings?
Timothy Thatcher, Saito Hayashi, they just keep coming and coming.
Yeah.
But Derek is backing off from Dr. Luther outside the ring, as you can see. Oh, and now he just catches Rick Luxury. Rick Luxury down onto the ring outside.
And Rick Luxury doing his job, running interference for Derek. He knows where his bread is buttered. As much as he's taking a beating from Dr. Luther, he knows that if Dr. Luther gets his hands on Derek, the money stops for Rick Luxury.
Well, if he's going to get his hands on Derek, he's going to have to go under the ring, as Derek has been hiding under the ring. This man, if you call him that, just refuses to get in the ring. Now he's backing up Rick Luxury again, protecting him once again.
Look at that outfit that Derek is wearing. He's like a sissy Spider-Man or sissy Superman. Look at that. He's got his face on his own tights. I've never seen that before in wrestling.
I don't know, but Skag Rollins now has a nightstick outside the ring, and him and Adam Thornstow have Wade Reichten in a lot of trouble. Now he just throws him in. Dr. Luther in the ring. Referee Albert McClure has absolutely no idea what to do in this. Of course, he was involved in that very controversial finish next week. We'll be hearing more about that here on Portland Wrestling.
A very controversial finish where Adam Thornstow won the heavyweight championship. Congratulations to Adam Thornstow. But still, the conglomerate, not even the conglomerate, but the cartel pointing fingers at Albert McClure.
Absolutely. Still to come tonight, fans. You're going to see Mustafa in action against Jeremy Blanchard. What we heard from Jeremy and Bubba, really, really shocking. I have a brother, and we've had our differences, but what they're going through is something else. Right now, Derek is being caught by Dr. Luther. He tried to get underneath the ring. Dr. Luther has him. He's threatening just to knock his head off.
And the fans want to see this. The fans want to see Dr. Luther with that pie pan right there.
A boot to the midsection. Down goes Derek the Duper in the ring. Wage Lexer. Oh, caught into a side backbreaker by Skag Rollins. Almost a Billy Robinson inside-out backbreaker used by some of the most famous wrestlers in pro wrestling history.
And some of the most infamous wrestlers in pro wrestling history.
And now Dr. Luther trying to climb into the ring, but now he's going back after Derek.
You know, Dr. Luther very much the leader of the AOD, but can they fall? Nice double stomp there on Laramie Lexo by Adam Thornstow, and you know that Skag Rollins loves it. Here's my point, Frank, is that Dr. Luther very much the leader of the AOD, but are they able to follow their game plan when Dr. Luther is so focused on Derek Drexel?
Well, and right now, I'm not sure what's focused on. We don't want to get the camera shot of those shorts coming down. All three men go outside. Rick Luxury and Derek Drexel, Adam Thorne. So in the ring right now, Wade Reichten taking a beating from Skag Rollins.
And Derek apparently has lost his neck brace. I've got it right here, and
that's not
it's even a black neck brace. You know, I've been to the hospital a couple of times, never seen black neck braces.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Dr. Luther and the AOD really in charge of this matchup. When you've got the heavyweight champion, you've got Dr. Luther, you've got former champion Skag Rollins, it's a real advantage. This team has functioned well together as opposed to the conglomerate, which has just been a new faction, a new business, if you will.
The AOD has done it all in Portland Wrestling. They've held every bit of gold here. They have done it all. And the conglomerate, you know, even though they're backed by a lot of money, they're still relatively new here. Laramie Lexo and Wade Reichten have, wait, could this be? No, not enough to pin Wade Reichten. You know, they haven't been together long enough to have that symbiosis that the AOD has. And, you know, AOD knows what they're going to do even probably before they know what they're going to do.
Absolutely. And right now you can see Derek with a low blow on Adam Thornstowe. Wade Reichten with a blow to the face. It looks like the table has turned and the conglomerate now in charge. Reichten has Thornstowe up and drops him big.
What a thunderous suplex there.
What is Jason
Wait,
Sullivan.
there's Jason Sullivan.
He is choking Skag Rollins with the television camera cords.
You know something? Jason Sullivan has turned down the conglomerate in the past. This has got to be just blood. Both he and Skag want a piece of each other, and Jason Sullivan took the opportunity, and he's getting a big piece right now of Skag Rollins.
Rick Luxury out here saying this is what money can buy you, and those are those strange bills. Oh, powerbomb in the ring by Wade Reichten.
Wade Reichten, very intense. He hits that finisher called the Fourth Reich. He very much sees himself as a machine, as an army trying to power his way through Portland Wrestling, and he's trying to do it, making a big statement against the guy who holds all the gold here in Portland Wrestling.
And now they're throwing him outside the ring. Dr. Luther and Laramie Lexo. Oh, but looking, going outside the building into the back parking lot is Skag Rollins and Jason Sullivan.
There may not be a more intense competitor in Portland Wrestling than Jason Sullivan, and he sees Skag Rollins as a way to make his name here in Portland Wrestling, and obviously Jason is taking every opportunity, throwing him out to the parking lot.
Well, and I'm looking for Adam Thornstowe. I don't know where he has disappeared to, but right now Dr. Luther.
Wait a second!
Thornstowe is down on the side over there, and there's the cartel, Luster and Big Ugly.
You know that they want revenge for last week when Adam Thornstowe beat Vinny Massaro for the heavyweight title. They're getting their revenge here. This whole thing is broken down. Derek was obviously very smart in declaring this thing a whole no disqualification matchup.
And because now it is 3-on-1, I'm trying to get some word from security what is going on in the back parking lot with Skag and Sullivan. Thornstowe brawling to the back with the cartel, and Wade Reichten going up top.
Wow!
Frankensteiner from the top rope.
That guy is too big to be delivering one of those.
There's a pin. There's one.
Wait a second.
What is Derek?
Oh, my goodness.
Derek's going for the pin.
This is ridiculous.
There's one. There's two. Oh, Dr. Luther kicks out. Derek thought he had it there.
You know, you mentioned Adam Thornstowe being drugged to the back. You mentioned Skag Rollins being torn to the parking lot. You know something, Frank? It doesn't matter. It's a no disqualification match. It is all legal right here. And you know something? I wonder if Dr. Luther is upset by calling for this match because he's paying the brunt of it, right? Wait a second, I spoke too soon. You could never count Dr. Luther out.
And look at Derek trying to throw some blows in, and they have absolutely no effect. Dr. Luther, look at the look on his face. Down goes Derek. Laramie Lexo follows up. It is just 3-on-1. That is just too much even for Dr. Luther.
You know, they don't talk a lot. They make their statements in the ring. Laramie Lexo and Wade Reichten. Nice finish there.
Pump handle
slam. Is that
going
to be enough?
Derek is saying no.
Oh, my goodness. This is ridiculous. Look at that.
Derek, he's pulling the straps down.
What does he think he is, Jerry Lawler?
And, he's even taking off the armpits. Oh, what is he doing?
Nice.
He is making a mockery of this. Drops an elbow and goes for the pin. There's one, two. No, Dr. Luther kicks out one last time. Derek is beside himself. Jim, I understand Skag Rollins and Sullivan are brawling all over the back parking lot of Cleveland National Guard Armory, back where the military trucks are. They're trying to get security out to them. It is a brutal brawl going on back there.
I hear they're going toward the river. I hear they're brawling in front of Lars Larson's house. But those are just my sources, Frank. Don't take me up on this. Here it is, another pump handle by Laramie Lexo on Dr. Luther into the power bomb, and again, Derek calls Laramie off.
He hooks the leg this time. That is it. Ring the bell. Derek Drexel with the pin. The conglomerate, the winner here in this big six-man matchup.
You know something? I don't want to overstate things here, but that is the biggest injustice in wrestling history. Look at that. They're throwing him up on his shoulders like he won the world title at WrestleMania. This is embarrassing. Look at the cartel. Who would have thought that Derek could have gotten a win over Dr. Luther? That is unheard of.
That is just a miscarriage of justice. Now Rick Luxury taking a blow in when he thought that he was down. There is Adam Thornstowe.
Finally he's able to
with
battle
the
back.
hammer, Dr. Luther's big mallet, and in comes Skag Rollins from the parking lot. Dr. Luther has been beaten 1, 2, 3. Derek Drexel the winner, but look at him. He is none too excited to get in now that the AOD are back on their feet.
But you know something? When all is said and done, when the history books are written, there will be a W in the win column for the conglomerate. Say what you want about their tactics. They played by the rules, which in this case was no rules, and they won.
Absolutely. It is in the victory column for the conglomerate. Derek Drexel does it again. Fans, at this time, we're going to take a quick commercial timeout. We are going to be back with a word with the cartel and find out some information about Vinny Massaro you'll want to hear. And then DJ Riz taking on Rick Luxury. And also to come tonight, Mustafa taking on Jeremy Blanchard, and what will be a brutal, brutal affair here on Portland Wrestling. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
How did you feel after the match? And you survived barely, but how did you feel?
I beat Dr. Luther. That was the start of my whole deathmatch career. I beat a deathmatch legend in my very first match. So, I mean, you just got to blame Luther for me. I always, Luther is the reason that I'm still around in this business, because if not, I would have been gone a long, long time ago. But you just got to blame Luther for everything that I've done in the last 20 years. All Luther's fault. None of my fault. No, all Luther. It was the Butler. Butler did it.
So we have one more match that we're going to look at here in, excuse me, in just a minute. But I want to ask you, so with no training, how did you get into, how did you go from wanting to be a manager to wanting to be a wrestler to being, well, I don't know if you mind me call a deathmatch wrestler who is really becoming quite known for your, not just your gimmick, but your style and your ability in the ring?
So it all started with Portland, and as Portland was shutting down, I wanted to keep doing this. I got my foot in the door of wrestling. I didn't want to get away, but I realized that I really needed some training. And so I went and worked for Skag Rollins and started a company. And through that, I got to meet Playboy Buddy Rose, and I got to do a little angle with Buddy, and he really liked me. So I became one of the first people Buddy Rose ever trained for free, because Buddy really liked his money. But Buddy told me, hey, I really like what you did for me out there. Come train with me. So Buddy was the first that helped train me. Meanwhile, Luther, would talk to me all the time. And even though we physically weren't in the ring, Luther would explain things about storytelling and psychology that I would never even think of as a wrestling fan. And so I would pick up bits and little pieces here and there. And I took Pacific Northwest wasn't like a hotbed for wrestling. So I went everywhere that I could within probably about a 9 to 10 hour driving radius to get matches and things like that. And at first it was just as a manager. And I think I was in Wenatchee, Washington, and I was managing these two guys who were not very good. And so it's the end of the heat, and the baby faces are supposed to be coming back. And both the guys that I'm managing just get hit and both just lay there. and I'm on the outside screaming, get up! It got so angry that I started screaming, bump and feed. And that was the point that I was like, screw it. I can do what they're doing even better. Even though I'm small, it doesn't matter. And so that was the start of like, I'm going to be a wrestler. And so I just I took as many seminars, I got as many matches possible. And then at a certain point, I think about 6 years in, I moved to Florida and I went and trained with Norman Smiley, the Big Wiggle, and Mike Graham at the FC, and Steve Kern at the FCW school at the time, which was the WWE minor league. And I went there to get seen, basically to see if they'd hire me as a manager, because this was still a time when the WWE was 6'3" and above. And like, I remember when I was there was right after they had hired Brody Lee and Eric Redbeard and Jinder Mahal. So on Thursdays when they did the local Tampa show, I would be helping do setup and teardown and stuff. And everyone else was like 6'7", and I'm a whopping 5'10", 5'11", walking around with them. But I just took every advantage I could and just kept wrestling. And at a certain point, I was like, I was probably about 38, 39 years old. I thought, my career's over. I'm going to move back to Portland. That's where all my friends are. That's where I consider home, where you can be a weirdo and no one stares at you too much. And so I came back here, and that was 10 years ago. And in the last 10 years has been the best part of my entire career. I came back and I ended up in Paraguay with Luchando, which was along with Jason Sullivan and then Scotty Mack, some other people that from Portland Wrestling. And then from there, I came back from Paraguay. I started helping to run DOA, and then eventually took over running DOA. And that's when Defy started up in Washington and Prestige started in Oregon. And with both of those companies, all of a sudden we started getting eyes on the Pacific Northwest. And in the last 10 years, we've turned this area into a hotbed. But my deathmatch stuff, I'd always loved hardcore. I mean, I was friends with Luther. But it was during COVID. I never considered myself a deathmatch wrestler till COVID, where every company shut down except for deathmatch companies. Imagine that. They wouldn't care about rules and laws and stuff. And so I went and did a company called No Holds Barred ICW, which is one of the bigger deathmatch companies. And I wrestled once for them, and all of a sudden I was labeled a deathmatch wrestler. And I started being flown out and to different places to do death matches. So that's kind of how I ended up in death matches. And then I think I stuck around because, like, a lot of these guys, they don't tell stories. They go out there and it's how much damage they can take and what can you smash me with. Where I get along with more of the vets of the deathmatch area. Deathmatch scene, because I want to tell a story. I want, like, every deathmatch I do has a totally different story. I'm never going to do the exact same thing twice, just because this is art to me. Every form of wrestling is art to me, and every single time I go out there, it's a brand new canvas to paint a new picture. And that's how I look at it. That's why I've become the homicidal artist, and that's why I bring a different version of violence than anyone else does in this entire area.
Interesting that you are the inversion of Dr. Luther, who in AEW breaks in as the deathmatch legend and is now standing in a Rocky robe behind Tony Storm. And you start out getting choke slammed or whipped by the grappler, and now where you are today. And it's so exciting to see that you're not just in the Portland and Oregon, Washington area. You actually are making a career out of this and being flown to places. And I think you're coming up in, this will date this broadcast a little bit, but you're going to be in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'll be in Vegas for WrestleMania week. I've got 3 or 4 bookings. My last time I did Mania was 2 years ago in LA, and I ended up with six matches in 3 days. And I think 4 of them were death matches. So by the time I drove back, I'm like, I'm too old for this. And I said I was never going to do another Mania booking. And then I got hit up and got asked, and it was Vegas, and it was close by. My tag team partner, Funny Bones, down there. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll go down there. And I ended up, I've got 3 or 4 wrestling bookings, and then I've actually got 1 booking where I'm just running a show for a company, because besides getting a lot of notoriety in the ring, I've gotten pretty good at running shows behind the scenes with DOA. And so, what is it? Pandemonium is paying me to run their gorilla position. They've flown me in to do it before, so they're having me do it again, and possibly for future shows down in Cali. Because I don't know, I turned 50 in a couple months, and my body's kind of falling apart. So I got to find other things to do, and I'm certainly not going to leave wrestling. I've already got enough scars and spilt enough blood. I deserve to be in for life now, so I'm not going anywhere.
Absolutely, yeah. And Funny Bone, another legendary wrestler who's done really well in the death match. And
here's something funny. When me and Funny Bone first met, like, Playboy Buddy Rose was one of my mentors and one of my trainers. One of his main trainers was Nick Bockwinkel. Nick Bockwinkel and Playboy Buddy Rose hated each other. And so we joke all the time that both our trainers are looking down just in such disgust that we are a tag team. But, it's just that's how the wrestling world works out.
It is. And so we're going to look at the last match that we have here. And it's a really good example of tag team wrestling. And it's also an example of your abilities in the ring. Because a lot of, as you mentioned, not all deathmatch wrestlers are good wrestlers. And you're telling stories. You mentioned Jason Sullivan earlier. And the very next episode of Portland Wrestling 2000 is going to feature Jason Sullivan and some great matches that we have. We're going to look at a tag team match. Dr. Luther and I had worked on another promotion that we wanted to start that didn't happen, but was called Breakthrough Wrestling. He shot a pilot, and it was filmed dark. The lighting was off. I've lightened it up as much as I can, but it's you and Jason Sullivan against the Voros twins.
Da Vinci. It's the Da Vinci twins.
The Da Vinci twins. World famous. They have 1 million followers on every social media platform
it's really mind-boggling, because I've known those kids since they both just worked at McDonald's, and they refused to work a shift without the other. So, like, I've been around them where we've tried to separate them into two separate vehicles on a road trip, and they can't handle it. They're very unique creatures, the Vorai.
They are. But what I want everybody to watch is watch how great of a wrestler you actually are. And for the limited amount of training, you didn't have years and years and years in a wrestling school, 5 nights a week. So you've had some training, a lot of self-training, learning what to do, what not to do. But you were really a terrific wrestler in this match. Jason Sullivan, of course, is excellent as well. So we're going to go to that, the Bellingham Civic Center, whatever Jim Valley and Matt Farmer call it. It is the Voros twins against what was your tag team?
The Night Terrors.
The Night Terrors. How perfect is that? So let's go to that match. We'll be back in just a moment with some more with Derek Drexel. And fans, be sure to stay tuned. At the end of the show, a very special bonus, as it's Derek Drexel versus Amira, a clip from Prestige Wrestling, a death match you don't want to miss.
I feel like the temperature just increased by about 20 degrees. Jim Valley.
Tag team action here in Breakthrough Pro Wrestling.
You want to talk about a sinister duo.
We're on the highway to hell. These guys are twisted.
That's saying it lightly. These guys are pure evil.
One of the most dominant tag teams in all of the independent scene, up and down the West Coast, from Mexico to Canada, even in Central America, Paraguay. They have been everywhere. The Night Terrors. That's the devil himself, Derek Drexel in front, and that big wall behind him is the sinner, Jason Sullivan.
The Sinner. Excellent name for a dangerous competitor. Led to the ring by his tag team partner, the evil one, Derek Drexel. These guys are dangerous.
These guys, as I mentioned, they are sick, they are twisted, and they're dark. Let's face it, they're dark.
Right now, the duo is serving a suspension from a promotion that they were wrestling for in Paraguay. They were kicked out by the country. The Prime Minister of Paraguay, if they have a Prime Minister, came to them and told them, leave our country for 1 year.
Tracy, these guys are the opposite of that. You call yourself the devil himself. What does that say about your beliefs? Creepy, evil men, the Night Terrors. You're in Breakthrough Pro Wrestling. They're strange, but in a different way.
Very strange. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's on their feet. Well, most everybody's on their feet for the Boro twins. These guys are high
Quite the following on YouTube and Twitter. And like I said, they're different, but they're a lot of fun. They're exciting.
Yeah, if you don't believe us, check out their Snapchat. These guys, world famous. And they've got a world of experience too. They just came back from training with 8 times world heavyweight champion Harley Race.
The greatest wrestler on God's green earth, Harley Race. And not only was Harley Race leading the camp in the training, they were also there. New Japan Pro Wrestler and probably the greatest wrestler of the last 10 years, Tanahashi, was there.
Yeah, don't let their good looks and their charisma and their fun and excitement fool you guys. They know how to get it done in there. Look at him now, Jim. We got Chris, we got Pat. Chris is in the blue bandana. Pat is in the red bandana. Once they take those things off, though, I don't know who's who.
They look as identical as you're ever going to see the Voros twins. They are definitely different, but there's a method to their madness and being so, like I said, they can be confusing at times, but it's very successful for them.
Just look how intimidating Big Evil Jason Sullivan is right now.
He is like this huge demonic wall. Is Jason Sullivan, a veteran of wrestling? He's put a lot of people in the hospital, and he takes wrestling very, very seriously.
Looks like we got Drexel starting off the match
against Chris Voros.
Good call.
For now, we can tell who they are. I'm going to be honest, we're probably going to get it wrong a little bit later on when the headbands come off.
Yeah.
But for right now,
you're amazing.
The twins, known for their double vision, a lot of tag team moves, a lot of exciting moves. And the devil himself, Devil Drexel, pulling the hair on Chris Voros. Not messing around as the devil himself. Derek started out as a manager and decided to become a professional wrestler, and he's been very, very successful.
I gotta tell you, Jim, I've got some personal experience with Derek Drexel. He said he started out as a manager. In fact, he was my manager at one time. There's a reason why he is now my former manager. I'll tell you what, the guy is evil in every sense of the word. No love between the two of us. I'll tell you what, though, for as much as I don't like the guy, he could get the job done.
Who would have thought you can't trust a guy who calls him the devil himself? Who knew?
This was pre-devil. This was maybe Satan by that time. Maybe he was going by a different name. Maybe he had not reached quite that devil stage yet.
Well, the devil is definitely fundamentally sound and not above breaking some rules there as he pulls the hair on Chris Voros. Voros twins, very fun, very fun-loving, but they know how to get down and dirty in the ring as well.
Did you see that interesting way of getting out of that headlock? He just stomped on Derek's foot.
It's effective. They're unorthodox. There's no question about it. You're going to see some very different things. Oh!
That's what you call a little tit for tat, or a little bit of, beard for hair.
And that's what you have to do when you're in there in the ring. And, these guys vying for slots in the tag team tournament.
Watch what Pat Boro does here. Oh!
The Voros twins, known for their double team moves, very smooth.
Here we go.
of the Night Terrors. And again, we're going to have here in Breakthrough Wrestling coming up, be on the lookout for a tag team tournament. The best teams from throughout the world. Watch out!
Here we go, dubbing up. I think Derek Drexel got the worst of that one.
And a meeting of the minds. Whoa! Jason Sullivan ain't having none of that. Now that's what happens when you run into a wall.
Yes.
Boros Twins getting the crowd hyped here in Bellingham.
There we go, suicide dive. You see the difference in impact that they have on Derek Drexel and what they have on Jason Sullivan. Sullivan isn't he's,
And Patrick Boros didn't even know what hit him there. Patrick had an effect on Derek Drexel, not so much for Chris.
no. Big Evil, Jason Sullivan, he is a difference maker. That guy, you saw what he did with that elbow drop on his own partner. Watch what he does to his opponent now when he's not trying to pull back that elbow at the last second.
Chris Boros now in the ring, I think. Oh my goodness, look at the strength of Jason Sullivan.
Let's just hope Jason doesn't go for a suicide dive now. That guy is massive.
He's very much in the mold of like a Vader that we've seen in the
Very much
past.
so. You know the hard camera over there has got to zoom out when he's in the ring, because if not, he's going to take up that entire camera lens.
I'm not sure, but Jason Sullivan's so big, I think we're using Google Earth. The powerful Jason Sullivan. Oh.
Big ham hocks. His hand is about the size of Chris's chest. That's Chris, right?
That is
Pat.
Patrick.
That's Pat.
Patrick there in the red, and I think you see if there's a Chris is still not even stood up yet. He's taken so much punishment so far. This match got hard, fast, and it is mean.
That's like running into a telephone pole.
If this is the quality of tag team wrestling that we have already here at Breakthrough Pro Wrestling, this tournament is going to be nothing short of spectacular when it's a full tag team tournament coming soon to Breakthrough Pro Wrestling.
I hope he wasn't talking to you, Jim, because I don't want him coming over here. These guys are dangerous. Don't discount Derek. He's got a method to his madness, believe me. Look at that hard knee strike to the face.
Derek Drexel, not the biggest guy in the world, but he wants it.
He does.
He wants it bad. You may not find anyone who wants to succeed who is determined as Derek Drexel is the devil himself.
And you look at him, you look at his body. He's taped from head to toe. He looks like a mummy because of all the damage that he's done to his body over the years. But that's the thing about Derek Drexel. He's willing to take chances just to hurt his own opponent.
He's willing to pay the price, and that's why the Night Terrors have been so successful. And you have the determination of Derek Drexel and the size and power of Jason Sullivan. They are a great tag team.
Earlier, I put my money on Nicole Matthews for that women's tournament. Jim, I got to tell you, I might be putting my money on Derek Drexel and Jason Sullivan for that tag team tournament.
Discount the Boros Twins. I agree with what you're saying, but we're looking at two top-flight quality tag teams here, and who knows who we're going to bring in and bring. All of that weight, every bit of 378 pounds.
That caught me off guard. I thought he was done with. And this is no disrespect to the Boros. Really great tag team. Very well schooled, very well traveled. But man, this Jason Sullivan, he's a monster.
You know, there used to be a time in the 80s and 90s where you had guys like One Man Gang and Ping Pong Bundy, and we mentioned Vader. But, a lot of guys like Jason, you don't see travels and all their success, I don't know that the world has ever seen anyone quite like the sinner, Jason Sullivan.
When you're hitting somebody so hard that the sound of that hit reverberates throughout the arena, you know it's got to be painful. He brings the pain. I hate to steal that term, but he brings the pain.
He brings the size, he brings the strength, and both these teams bring a lot to the table. Devil Drexel driving the skull of Patrick Voros down in the mat. Not enough. What is he doing? Why would you want a piece of Jason Sullivan? And again with those driving skull bombs.
Something about that referee's count was a little slow there. I'm actually surprised that Derek is not complaining about that. Maybe he's so warped in the mind he doesn't know when to complain or not to complain. But that was a little slow.
He's very, very focused.
I can tell you one thing about my time with Derek. When you look into his eyes, and he's got the freakiest eyes you've ever seen. When you look into his eyes, you don't know if you're talking to a man or you're talking to a mythical creature, but you look into those eyes and you see something you don't see in ordinary folks.
He believes it. When he said the devil himself, he's not joking.
No.
Patrick Voros, though, showing his toughness. These guys, they may look like a lot of fun, but they're also very, very tough. I mean, to survive Harley Race's camp, I can imagine they learned a lot, but they probably took a lot of punishment. But not like this. Look at, Jason Sullivan's so good at using his size to his advantage. I mean, it's one thing to be that big, but if you don't know how to drive the train, and he definitely knows how to use that size.
My respect for Pat Voros right now has grown immensely just now, because anybody that can take a punch, one punch like Sullivan just threw, and you gotta give him those guys respect. That would knock most people out.
Almost like an old-time demolition move from back in the day. And is it enough? No. Wow, look at the toughness on Patrick Voros. Oh, you called it, Matt.
Yeah. You know,
a little frustration there.
He's starting to get frustrated.
A little frustration with referee Pat Kern. Chops. Breakthrough Pro Wrestling, bringing you the best in wrestling excitement and action, just like this, as the Night Terrors take on the Voros twins.
Derek's giving him everything he's got right now, but man, Pat is standing up. He's staying up. There we go. Look at this.
The Voros twins may look like pretty boys, but they are double tough.
Holy cow.
And here comes Chris. Laying in those forearms. All the way from Budapest, Hungary.
You cannot take on both of these men at the same time. You try to take on both these guys at the same time, you're going to have some night terrors.
Wait a second, what is...
Now, referee, come on, at least admonish him.
A headbutt to Southern Hungary. I'm Jim Valley, along with the expert, Mr. Wrestling Matt Farmer. Breakthrough Pro Wrestling, all this action brought to you by Bellevue Fitness. Bellingham Fitness, I should say.
Yes. Bellingham.
Well, I'll tell you what, they can expand to Bellevue. Bellevue would be a great place for the quality you find at Bellingham Fitness.
Breakthrough is not just a Bellingham promotion, it's a worldwide promotion. Right now, we've got talent from all over the world, all over the United States, all over Canada, Mexico, Japan, everywhere, coming into Breakthrough Pro Wrestling.
Oh, and Hungary with the Voros twins.
Yes.
Devil Drexel enjoying the Hungarian goulash, as he says. DDT by the devil himself. Wait, was that? Oh, so close. So,
yeah.
I thought we had a 3 count there, Matt Farmer.
We might need to check that for the instant replay. I think good old Pete Carroll needs to challenge that one.
You gotta give the Night Terrors credit. They have stayed to their game plan, and it's been very effective, trying to ground the Voros twins, slow them down, make sure that they can't do some of unorthodox tag team maneuvers. This strategy is very sound by the Night Terrors.
That was an amazingly hard landing Jason Sullivan just took right there. Chris Morrill is lucky he got out of the way for that move.
That could have ended the match. We saw, here comes Patrick.
Big clothesline.
Patrick not afraid to mix it up with Jason Sullivan. Not afraid to lay it into the Devil Drexel. There! He is fired up. As he goes back and forth with those European uppercuts.
That referee needs to get one of those guys out of the ring. You cannot have both these guys in the ring at the same time.
Tell you what,
Look
the
at this.
referee's having a hard time keeping control of his match. And that may be the advantage of the Night Terrors. Watch out!
He's going up to the... Where is he going to? Oh!
Well, one of the problems when you're a big man, sometimes those rings can't handle you. But Jason Sullivan showing the pro he is. He had a backup, but it wasn't good enough. Gave just enough time for Patrick to get out of the way.
Pat is extremely lucky right there that Jason slipped. Like you said, these rings are not constructed necessarily for a 400-pound man.
Double drop kick sends Jason Sullivan out of the ring. And here comes more for the Devil Drexel. Is this it?
Oh!
Double vision! Double vision by the Vorals twins!
I got it! Holy cow! I cannot believe that, Jim. This has got to be an upset.
What an amazing come from behind victory!
That is amazing. I cannot believe that.
The Vorals twins took so much punishment, so much destruction from the Night Terrors. They shot open and hit the double division. 1, 2, 3. A victory for the Vorals twins.
That has to be described as an upset. I know all the teams here in Breakthrough are great teams, but that right there has got to be. I'm shocked. I'm speechless right now. My money was on the Night Terrors.
That's Chris in the blue, Patrick in the red, and the hands in the air victorious for the Vorals twins.
I hope these guys stay over there.
Me too, I don't want anything to do with the Night Terrors. They were in a war. Their strategy was working, but you find one opening, Matt.
Yes.
And it's all over in Breakthrough Pro Wrestling.
What a tremendous wrestling, the tag team, the Night Terrors. And if Tony Khan or any of those people out there are watching this show, this is a tag team that you should sign. You got rid of Danhausen, for Pete's sake. How about signing Derek the Devil Drexel?
I've fought Danhausen before. He likes to do a lot of wrestling moves. I don't quite understand that. So,
what's the ring for?
Yeah.
So tell me what's next with Derek. What's going on, and final words that you'd have for fans of wrestling of the past and where wrestling is today.
I mean, I'm turning 50 this year. I'm at 20 years in this business. I'm trying to slow things down, but then I just wrote down my calendar, and in the next month I've still got 8 shows. So I'm not really sure how that's slowing things down, but in my mind, I'm slowing things down. So I'm not on the road quite as much, and I can spend more time with my dog at home. But my goals are just to keep building the Pacific Northwest. This scene has not been this good, drawing these kind of crowds in at least 30 to 40 years. Yeah. Companies like DOA draw 300 to 400 every single month. Companies like Prestige at Roseland pack that out right around 1,000 people for every Roseland show. It's a flourishing scene, and I'm grateful to be part of it. And guys like me and Ricky Gibson, aka Cosmic River, the hippie, who is a ring crew guy, we're the ones that are helping develop the brand new the next generation that are taking over. And it's really cool from Pacific Northwest being known as a black hole that no one gave a shit about to now actually a destination that I get at least 5 emails a day from people around the country that want to come out here and want to wrestle either in Portland or up in Washington. And can I help them out to get them out here? So it's awesome to see where it's at. And I just want to keep growing this. I don't know how long this boom is going to last. So I'm going to take full advantage of it and just enjoy the ride, because I learned a long time ago, it's not about the destination wrestling. It's all about the just enjoying the ride. And so I've certainly done that and got to do so many things I never thought absolutely would ever be just possible. I've wrestled Hall of Famers. I've wrestled a member of Jackass and Danger Aaron in a death match. I've done a lot of cool shit for a guy who was never supposed to actually be a wrestler, or some guys didn't even want in the ring when I started in Portland. So
absolutely. Well, and you mentioned Cosmic River, Ricky Gibson, part of Midnight Heat, now a very successful tag team. But Ricky Gibson, Cosmic River battles this other guy named Azul Angel.
Let me see. He runs a school called Grit City, Mr. Ethan HD. Another one I totally forgot about, Azul, at the very those vast few months of Portland. So
you can catch the Cosmic River episode on the Portland Wrestling 2000's YouTube channel. Go through and scroll through a lot of great. There's a Luther, a whole bunch of Roddy Piper matches, even the Fidel Sierra Bloody Flag match from the Salem State Fair. And so I want to thank Derek Drexel. As the journey that you're on is tremendous. And for all the young talent that is out there that says, do I want to do this? Can I do this? Here's an example of someone, radio announcer, going to be a backstage interviewer, and all of a sudden he's chokeslammed by Paul Isadora.
Yeah, like I said, CT is real, and you can be just like me. I mean, why not? Hey, I'm pretty.
We'll let it go with that. And we like to say that's wrestling the way it should be, but there's proof of it right there, fans. Thanks for joining me here. Frank Culbertson on Portland Wrestling 2000s. Again, subscribe and like the channel so you don't miss a single moment of wrestling action. And check out Derek Drexel all over Instagram, and you'll find him
just look up the Devil Drexel and you'll find me.
Thanks for joining me, Derek, and we'll be back soon here on Portland Wrestling 2000s. Hey, wrestling fans, we don't want to go away without you getting to see the devil himself in action and see the art of hardcore wrestling as it can be. So here it is, Derek Drexel in action.
Get out, gotta make it last. What's it gonna be? Who you gonna see? You got the right time. You gonna move on it. Where's the show? I need to know. I miss rock and roll. You gonna sing that song?